Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. I come from a single-parent family. I have 3 siblings, 11, 13 and 15. Dad skipped out when my youngest sibling was 5 and pays child support, but he pays the bare minimum he can get away with and often skips payments. I'm 19 now, and from age 16, I got a job and began to split my wages into 5 equal parts and gave everyone a fifth. Me and my brothers used our part to buy stuff we wanted or go out with friends. I gave a fifth to Mom to help with household stuff, which didn't do a lot, but we were able to get treats for school lunch or a takeaway on a night she worked late. When I turned 18, I got into a university that offered me a bursary on top of my regular loans. But the uni was several hours away, so I ended up moving last September. I've not been sending money home at this time because despite the financial help I've been given and having gotten a job, it's still expensive to just live off the basics here, and I figure without paying for me, Mom is saving a decent amount. Every now and again, one of my siblings will message me and say, "Is there any way you could give me this amount so I can go out with friends or on a field trip or buy some new shoes?" I usually do it, but earlier this week, 15-year-old asked for over £400 plus spending money for a school trip. The money pays for the coach and ferry to another country, a shared hotel room for 4 nights, meals throughout the week, and various activities. The £400 needs to be paid ASAP, as it's on a first-come, first-served basis, and there's less than 50 places for nearly 200 students to fight over. I said I couldn't do 400. He said he understood, but he's apparently been walking around with a face like a cat's arse back home. It was at this point the conflict happened. Mom rang me and basically started by asking if there was absolutely no way I could swing the 400 plus. I said I could do at most 200 if she could do the rest, and she said she couldn't. She then basically ranted at me asking why I ever gave my siblings money to begin with, because now I had stopped giving them regular allowance, they were going without, and they had become accustomed to having money, which they didn't have now. Her issue wasn't me giving them money to begin with, it was me taking it away when I left, and now she needs me to resume paying out so they're not disappointed. I said when the 15-year-old is old enough to get a job, 5 months, he can do the same thing I did. Mom said I was being unfair and that I've basically cut them off financially, so I should be giving them what I can afford. I said no and hung up, and Mom texted me saying that she's sorry for snapping, but then repeated what she said on the phone. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to keep giving them allowance? Not the a-hole, OP. Your life situation changed. You're not living with your mom anymore, and you have other responsibilities. You need to look after yourself and get to a point when you can help out if you want to. Your mom can try to give your siblings some allowance, maybe less than what you gave them, but still something. Also, if money is tight, your siblings can start working as well when they're old enough, and that's what you did. 400 is quite a lot to ask for suddenly and for a trip. You should not feel bad for not being able to give away the money or for giving your siblings allowances in the past, but not being able to anymore. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. As a single mom with kids 17 years apart, I would have appreciated the F out of you giving anything when living together. I never expected my oldest to give anything, even presents to my youngest. He does. Because he pays for 90% his own way, and he has since 18, including school. Why would your mom even think that you should give any money? Period. Ugh, I hate entitlement. Be careful, she is setting up the idea you will support her later. Not the a-hole. Providing for your siblings is your parents' responsibility, not yours. It sounds like your mother has come to take your support for granted at best, and feels entitled to your sacrifice at worst. She should be chasing your father for more money, not you. You have no obligation to provide even if you could afford the 400. And so she's leaning heavily into the moral obligation as their family. Chances are your mother promised your sibling that he would go because you'd pay for it. And so they're bummed now, but we'll get over it. providing for them when you can is a voluntary thing you can do, that you are free to withdraw whenever you choose to for whatever reason. Not the a-hole. Your parents are. Your dad should be paying more. Your mom shouldn't be trying to make you financially support your siblings. Your siblings aren't a-holes for becoming accustomed to that support. You just have to decide how much, if anything, you'll be giving your siblings financially. That is, a regular allowance of X amount every X, money for a movie or dinner every so often. Nothing at all, no more than X amount per kid in X time, etc. Then you have to tell them that in a nice way and stick to your word. They'll get used to it, and when the 15-year-old becomes old enough, maybe look at jobs with him or her and help them through the application process to make things easier. Or even now, encourage them to look for babysitting or yard work jobs for neighbors until they're old enough for an official job. Story 2. I split from my ex about a year ago. The divorce was messy, and long story short, she took our daughter and went back to her home state. My parents moved to where I currently live before our divorce, and since I was paying the mortgage on their house and financially supporting them in addition to being unable to relocate due to work, I decided I was staying put. I've also met someone else, and we're now expecting our first kid together, which makes relocating even less of an option. It has made the logistics of seeing my daughter harder though, but I try to visit at least once a month and talk to her every day. However, I had to miss her first day of school because my girlfriend wasn't feeling well due to her pregnancy, and I got hit with last-minute work stuff. My ex called me repeatedly, trying to insist that I come down for this, and I explained to my daughter that I couldn't come because I had a lot going on. But I love her very much and would see her soon. She was sad but said okay. I also had to cancel Thanksgiving, Christmas visit because of my girlfriend's pregnancy. Recently, my daughter asked me if I would ever live with her again, and I tried to gently explain that no, because I can't leave my job and because I'm going to have another baby soon. But we would see each other lots. I was talking about this with the guys at work, and with the exception of one, they all told me I was a huge a-hole that ditched my kid for a piece of ass. I feel that I'm stuck in an impossible situation. My ex won't move back here, and I have no desire to keep her from a support network. My girlfriend is pregnant, and her kids also see me as a surrogate dad now. And I have my parents to support. I can't just drop everything to move somewhere else. I feel bad about it, but don't think I'm doing the wrong thing. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole, OP. I can understand you are having to juggle different relationships here, but seeing your daughter once a month and missing important events such as the first day of school and Christmas really isn't good enough. I'm guessing your pregnant girlfriend could have been looked after by someone close to her so that you could see your daughter on her first day, but you decided it was okay to skip it. It's not okay. If you truly want to be in your daughter's life and wanted to feel like you were around as she grows up, then you must try harder to make her a priority. Now for some comments. You're the a-hole, but it's a tough spot. Your reasoning to not see your daughter because your new partner is pregnant doesn't hold much weight with me, and I'm certain it won't with your kid. It turns out that pregnant people can be left alone unattended. Your daughter is already hearing you prioritize the new baby over her. You couldn't give a Thanksgiving or Christmas? Really? You don't need to drop everything, but you need to reprioritize your daughter. You're the a-hole because of the excuses you make that send the message to your daughter that everything else takes priority over her. Work, your new girlfriend, her kids, your new baby, your parents. By verbalizing these things and not committing to your end of the bargain, you are setting her up to have a lot of resentment. Not just towards you, but your new family. It's not fair to be a surrogate dad to your girlfriend's kids when you aren't even being one to your own. You need to do better and make her a priority. You're the a-hole. You have repeatedly chosen your girlfriend and your work over your own child. You even seem to prioritize girlfriend's kids over your own child. Your daughter will remember every time you cancelled and didn't show up. I've seen it happen within my own family. This beautiful girl just turned 17 and barely even acknowledges her father anymore. He prioritizes his girlfriend and her kids over his own. Yes, he paid child support every month, but never attended school functions, cancelled on holidays, and missed every important event. His choices ruined their relationship. Story 3. Throwaway account because my partner is on Reddit. Background. My partner, 36 male, and I, 32 female, both moved to Boston for college and never left after graduation. We're both professionals established in our careers, are paying off our student loans, and love the companies we work for. Right now we live apart, but we're moving in together once our leases are up. We both hate commuting, so we live walking distance from our employers, which means we live about 45 minutes apart. We're looking for apartments between our two jobs so that neither of us has more than a 20 or 30-minute commute. Situation. He makes twice what I make but pays about the same each month as me because my rent is about $100 more than his apartment. Because my apartment is bigger than his and our utility costs are similar, except he has cable TV and I don't. So we end up paying about the same amount each month. We decided that our price limit for rent is 150% what he is currently paying, but when we were talking about budgeting, he offhand said the price limit was great because we would both save about 25 to 30% a month on rent and utilities. That really hurt because we are partners and he makes twice what I do, so it's only fair that we share rent and utilities proportionally. I told him that because he makes twice what I make, that we should split rent and utilities 2/3, him and 1/3 me. He says that's not fair because I will be paying less rent than I'm now, but his rent will stay the same. But he makes twice what I do and his total costs aren't going up because his utility costs will go down and I'm happy to pay 1/3 of cable, which I wouldn't get for myself, so he'll still be saving about $100 a month on utilities. He still told me that wasn't fair and that fair would be to split rent and utilities 50-50. I think he saw how upset I was because he told me he would be willing to pay 2/3 of utilities and rent if we could live within walking distance from his work near where he lives now. But that doesn't seem fair because once our offices open back up, I'll be commuting 45 minutes each way every day, while he could come home for lunch. I told him that wasn't a compromise because we both have the same 24 hours in a day, so it's fair that we have similar commute times. He told me he didn't think it was fair that we would be splitting the use of the apartment and utilities, but that I want him to pay 2/3 of the cost. I can't seem to get him to understand that we are paying the same percentage of our incomes. And his dollar amount is double mine only because he makes twice what I do. He doesn't seem to understand that his compromise is not fair. We can't wait to move in together, but I don't know how to make him understand his compromise isn't fair. Am I the a-hole for wanting to fairly share the rent and utilities and have a fair commute? Edit. We met 2 years ago, we're not married, no kids or pets. Now for some comments. I gotta say, you're the a-hole here. He was willing to compromise with you in order to get a shorter commute and you shot that down. You're being incredibly selfish. And if it's both of y'all's money, you seem to say as a partnership, it shouldn't matter if you pay 50-50. Is he going to hoard all of his money away from you? Are you going to have absolutely no money between the two of you? I doubt it. Be a good partner, either compromise with him or pay the 50-50. You're the a-hole. I don't believe you're being fair. His career choice should not come with a sign that says, please stick me with more than half the bills. If you're not able to afford an apartment in the neighborhoods, town or city you're looking in, why are you even looking there? Be an equal partner regardless of your income. Since after all, everyone should be treated as equals in a relationship. Look for a different location where you are both able to afford rent plus utilities 50-50. You're the a-hole. Don't know what planet you live on, but the cost of living is the cost of living. It doesn't fluctuate based on your income. Why the hell would you expect your boyfriend to do that? Plus, you are so entitled that you won't even be willing to accept his very generous compromise that he will do that for you if you allow him to live closer to his workplace. So that's like add 20 minutes to your daily commute in exchange for half of your living expenses. bet you half the people who read this would jump on a deal like that with both feet.